that. Look at the vein. The vascularity. Look at the reflection on the glass. Oh. Word, man. Word.
We look like assholes.
It's because we are assholes. That does not change, but you know what? What is it? What do they say? They say perception is reality, but I don't think that's true. I think your perception is your reality, not actuality. But you know. Anyways, so again, we're still chilling with one mic, courtesy of Jose. I need to order more mics, but, you know, that's my fault. And I take absolute ownership.
And if you think you know where you are today, mind your fucking business. How about that?
Yeah, fuck you. I still love you, but fuck you. But anyways, Austin, what is on today's docket, my brother?
Alright, so today, we are talking about calculated risks and damn fuck, I forgot the fucking adjective gambles.
Blind.
There you go, calculated risk and blind gambles. There we go. Just act like we didn't fucking, say that. But hey, that's what we're talking about today. And there's actually a very big difference. And one can lead you to turmoil, strife, anguish, and the other can lead you to success. What is it? Affluent, prosperity, and wealth. So hey,
Continuing the risk from last time.
yeah. So we're coming to you today with a great podcast from another undisclosed location. And hey, it's hot as shit. Well, it's actually not that. The breeze is actually pretty nice today, but it's still hot as shit in wherever the fuck we're at. It's 104 degrees.
Without the index.
Like what the fuck is going on? Anyway, so I'm gonna hand the mic back over to Jose, and he can give you his intro. And then I'm going to dumb it down for you, all you idiots who don't understand what the fuck we're talking about. So here we go.
I wouldn't say so much as dumb it down. I would say it's dial it in, because my form of discussion is very crude and unfiltered, particularly in these instances. But Austin, thank you for the wonderful intro. Welcome to the AM Club podcast, y'all. On this fine 104-degree day, our biceps are looking amazing, our shoulders are bustling, and I will leave the other statement out of this podcast because that is, yeah. Hey, listen, if you know, you know. And if you know who you are, that you know what you know, that I'm saying that you know.
You know that.
We're just going to say, we're going to allude to, what is it, On the Radar freestyle? Drake and Central C. There's a verse that Drake says that you'll just have to know. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, that's fine. But you get what I'm saying. So anyways, on the docket, calculated risks versus blind gambles. I got it. This time I got it. So the key component here is, the main distinction between the two is that a calculated risk, obviously it's calculated, but you have a floor, an established floor, which you cannot fall below. While as a blind, I'm just perplexed by something.
Oh, yeah. we see a lot of perplexing stuff. You see a lot of perplexing stuff when we're podcasting, so it's hard. And there goes the Bentley.
Oh. Hey, it's a sign. Listen. Hey, look at the hat.
Yeah.
Word. Hey, coming soon.
You'll see us. Well, I don't know if I'm
not a Bentley guy either.
But you'll see us in something similar. Very, very.
I mean, if we could get one, we might as well get one. It's like add it to the list.
And we'll let y'all drive it.
There you go.
A raffle.
Yeah.
Anybody who submits a certain amount of.
Or we could just say the first 50 subscribers.
Yeah.
From way back in the day.
Yeah.
That's called loyalty. Loyalty pays off, baby. But so a calculated risk has a floor that you cannot fall below, while a blind gamble has no floor. So in other words, your loss is to the extreme, to a point that you almost can't recover. A perfect example that I would give you is a calculated risk might be like, hey, I have $10,000 in the bank account. I'm going to invest 50% of that, which is $5,000. If I lose that $5,000, I still have $5,000 in the bank account. While a blind gamble might be like, I'm going to invest in this snake oil salesman company, all of the money that I have in my savings so that they can give me a return. But here's the thing. You have no fucking safety net, and also it's a snake oil salesman company, so you kind of fucked yourself in the ass on that one. But either way, the point is that you just have no fall through. You have no fallback. You have no floor. It's not calculated. It's just a blind risk. It's a blind gamble that you completely just fell into. I had to throw that part just to see Austin's reaction because it's always great to see that reaction.
So, again, here's my dumb it down way of saying what Jose just said. So think of it like this, right? You could get in a building where you know the structure is sound, right? Or sound enough to where if you get into a certain situation, if there's an earthquake or anything like that, the floor might crack a little bit and you might only fall from one floor to the next floor. That's a calculated risk.
Well, fundamental foundation.
Exactly. And harkening back to our old podcast, go look at that. So you might only fall through one floor. Even if you do lose, even if the structure isn't as sound as what you thought it was, the risk isn't as big as if you take a gamble. You only go down one floor and you're able to build yourself back up or climb back up to the same spot that you were previously a lot easier than if you took a gamble. Now, if you take a gamble on a newly constructed high rise that has risky or unreliable contractors that built this building, and they're known for being unreliable. And you just got in the building, you didn't inspect it, you're at the top of the floor, and you got the penthouse at the top of the floor because it was cool. Nobody else is buying anything, is buying any space in that high rise except you. You bought it because you wanted to look cool. It cost a shit ton, and you decided to take that gamble because you just wanted to be cool, I guess. You do that, and then there's a fucking earthquake. Now, if there's a fucking earthquake in a high-rise building that is unreliable, the contractors are unreliable, the structure is very skeptical, and it was not inspected, not only will you fall through a floor, you'll fall through all the damn floors and end up on fucking rock bottom. You know what rock bottom is? When you fall from the top floor to the fucking bottom floor?
Rock bottom times 9.812.
That, or in how I would say it, you're fucking dead. You're dead as fuck. Okay?
That's a good one.
Yeah, you're dead as fuck.
That's a good one.
So
You're not just dead.
you're dead as fuck. Like dead times 2. So do you want
Dead squared times I.
yeah, times negative I. Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you want to take a calculated risk that you'll be on that same floor and you'll be able to climb up the same amount if you stay patient? And even if you do fall, you're not going to fall that badly. Or do you want to take that gamble and have the potential to lose everything you fucking have on something that is not sound? And we're not saying that if there's a good idea, you shouldn't bet at all. If you want to take that risk, take that risk. If it makes sense, if there's a logical reason to do so. However, you taking a gamble is basically putting yourself out there without a calculated, method for why you're doing what you're doing. So
It's not evidence-based.
it's not evidence-based. So if you're going to do something non-evidence-based and you're just going to spend or give up all your fucking money just to take that risk and potentially win, that is more of a gamble as opposed to a calculated risk.
Real quick, I just want to mention one thing, and then I want to pass the mic back to Austin, because I know Austin is good on this point, if I don't forget the point. But, no, I got it. But I want to I've referred to this before, my brother Adam from the gym. Austin's met Adam. Adam helped us deadlift, so shout out to Adam. That's my brother right there. But one day we were having a conversation about how, when you're a power lifter, how bold you have to be, and how you have to strike a balance between how much you want to attempt on your lifts. So for those of y'all who don't know, essentially most lifting meets are 3x3. So you get 3 attempts on 3 different lifts. and that's going to be bench press, squat, and deadlift. Now, based on where you start is kind of how you progress up. So if you start too low, not at all. I'm being petty about we'll say design choices.
Yeah.
Design choices.
I feel, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm more particular in these things. But anyway, so based on how high you start is how high you can progress. So if you're too conservative, you cannot go for higher numbers. If you're too ambitious, you cannot go for lower numbers. And so you're pretty much, you have to strike a good balance when you start, and you have to have a good calculated approach. Now, in this conversation, I was reading The Laws of Human Nature, I think, at the time, Robert Greene, and I just finished a chapter where he talks about the difference between being rash and being bold. And so the idea is there's moments to be bold. So there's moments to take a calculated risk. But very few times is it required for you to be rash, where you're taking a blind gamble. And so powerlifting is a perfect example of that, because if you overestimate your abilities, if you're going to make a blind decision, a blind gamble or a rash decision, then you could suffer for it. You could actually injure yourself. Yeah, you could snap your shit up. You could also just fail your lifts, which is devastating, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the above. Or you could be bold, which is taking a calculated risk and approaching numbers that are pushing the limit, but within reason. So that is kind of striking the balance. Now, I think falling in line with this as well, because I think there's more to be said about, I think there's enough to say about like a blind gamble. There's not really more that you can say about a blind gamble than it's just a dumbass fucking decision that's inspired by emotions rather than logic. But I would actually like Austin to elaborate on one of Austin's favorite strategies, or favorite things I would say to discuss, which is in calculated risks. Part of calculating the risk is having an exit strategy. And Austin is a big proponent of always having an exit strategy. Austin? Back to you.
Shit.
Organic. Listen, like whole food.
Alright, so, okay. So I feel like I am, and it's mostly because of him, because I used to be very conservative on how I did things. But I changed, yeah.
I'm a rash asshole.
But that's crazy. That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible.
No, not rash.
That I get it, but that it just doesn't sound, for those who aren't literate. And I'm not saying our viewers aren't literate, but we might stumble across
You're talking about stragglers.
the stragglers who may not know what the fuck we're talking about. But anyway,
Oh boy, I'm about to be this guy.
yeah, we can take a brief intermission and we'll have like some music. Do 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 do. I'm doing it. I'm looking. Anyway, so yeah, so
More of a memo right there.
ever since that I've decided to start taking more risks. There we go.
I don't know what blue means.
Yeah,
I'm not taking a risk.
yeah, but so ever since I started taking more risks, you have to have again an exit strategy. So it's like with stocks, right? If you are taking, kind of chances on volatile stocks and you're investing more money than the average, say you're not just putting in like a couple dollars or $100, you're putting in thousands of dollars, right? And if it goes a certain way, if it goes up, that's very beneficial. But if it goes down, you could lose and be in the negatives. So what you want to do, and they have this thing called it's not a hard stop, but yeah, it's something stop. No. It's a something stop. I forgot what it is because I used to do it with fucking forex trading. So they have this to where if it gets past a certain point or to a certain point, it takes your money out at that specific point, so you're not losing any more money. So basically, how you want to do things in life is to have that fail stop, whatever the fuck it's called. Have that stop to where when you're in too deep, you have an exit strategy, a way to reserve and, maintain what you have put in your money as opposed to risking it all and then losing it all. So that goes back to the calculated risk. And even if you do have to take a risk to where you could make some money or you could benefit a lot or you could also lose a lot, you have to realize, hey, if I take this risk, then okay, I could win. But if I do lose, you have to see or you have to factor in what could happen and think, okay, if this happens, then what? Then I do this. Or if this happens, am I okay with the results? Most people aren't okay with the results. Most people aren't okay with failing. So you have to think that way of, if I do fail, here's how I'm going to handle that particular failure or that particular issue, however you want to say it. And Jose just got the book out, so you know that we're about to come to you with some facts. But again, anything in life that you do, have that, hard out, that exit strategy to where you can get yourself out safely. It's like Marines when they go to war, and this kind of goes into what we're talking about in a sec with the book. But when you go to war, you have to have a strategy just in case shit goes wrong, and you have to get yourself out of that situation. You have to get your squadron out of that situation, right? So plan for the good, plan for the bad, and always have that exit strategy just in case, because you never fucking know.
On actually the same tangent. Plan. Would you say plan for the good, plan for the bad? And then what was the last part?
If you never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen.
If it does go south, you have to be sure to have an exit strategy to get yourself and whoever is with you out safely.
So on that same tangent, there was something that Bedros posted the other day. Bedros Koulian, shout out to BK, Big B, Big B, yeah, Big B, yeah.
Big B.
We just call him B.
I don't call him Big
I just call him B. I'm not saying Big B because he's bigger than life. For now, one day we'll shake his hand on equal terms. Coming soon. But yeah, we'll tell you all a story about that at a later date. But he said, control what you can, cope with what you can't, and focus on what is essential. And that's kind of similar to that. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Maybe somebody will grab some benefit from that because that's definitely helped me these past 2 weeks. Now, anyways, on to what I have from the 30 Strategies of War. That what Austin said got me thinking about was the exit strategy on the same tangent. And he was saying how, what were you saying about the exit strategy? In particular, there was, no, before that, right before that.
I said you have to get yourself out of it. I said you have to get yourself, always have an exit strategy just in case something goes wrong, just in case, so you can get yourself and whoever you are with out safely without taking too much of a hit, basically.
So onto that actually made me think of, so this is law number 22, know how to end things, the exit strategy. And let me just read the part that I highlighted. So it's talking about how the art of ending things well is knowing when to stop, never going so far that you exhaust yourself or create bitter enemies that embroil you in conflict in the future. It also entails ending on the right note, with energy and flair. It is not a question of simply winning the war, but the way you win it. The way your victory sets you up for the next round. The height of strategic wisdom is to avoid all conflicts and entanglements from which there are no realistic exits. So not only is it about making an exit strategy on an impromptu, as in like cutting your losses, but it's encompassing everything, because the exit strategy doesn't just mean now. It has a forecasting effect on what's going to come in the future. So if you exit in a way that causes pain, that's going to cause resentment, then that's going to come back to you and essentially cause another quote-unquote war. So it's kind of like relationships. If you just burn somebody, it could come back and hurt you. But also, if you make it long and stretched out and painful and arduous, then you're going to be resentful and you're going to want to come back and hurt somebody. So you have to make sure that you do it properly and you calculate the risks as you go so that you set yourself up for success in the future as well.
Bars.
Y'all don't understand. Y'all need to read books.
You do.
Right?
all of this comes from reading, listening, and learning. Austin learns a lot from other people. I learn a lot from reading. So
And I also learn a lot from reading as well because there's one particular book that
I know.
there's one particular book that actually talks about what the fuck we are doing currently. So, well, I don't want to spoil too much, but in a book called Good to Great, it's basically a book that tells you how to take your business from doing good, doing well, to greatness, scaling, increasing your level of productivity tenfold. And one way that it says to do this is by taking a calculated risk, I guess, because anything that you invest money into, especially when it comes to another human being that you can't physically control, is a risk.
Good one.
So basically, it's like, well, the book says, a calculated risk would be to, instead of you being hands-on in what you're doing and you guiding the process for whatever you're doing, you're hands-on, you're the only person, you or whoever you're working with are the only people who have the say and are the ones working this particular thing. Instead of doing that, you hire somebody, you hire an expert, you hire a specialist to do it. Is it a risk? Yes, because maybe you don't know if they can do what you do as well as you. However,
That's a lot of ego.
it is a lot of ego, and you have to realize, okay, if I take this risk, what do I have to lose and what do I have to gain? Depending on how much you're paying them.
Is it a gamble or is it a risk?
Exactly. Is it a gamble or is it a risk? A calculated risk. So if you take this as a calculated risk, you say, yes, I am paying them. However, with the productivity that they give me, the efficiency that they're able to do their job because they're a specialist or expert in their craft, the time it frees up for me and the bandwidth it also frees up for my fucking mental and also life in general. And not only that, productivity, the increase in productivity means more cash flow. So if you view this as a calculated risk and say, hey, I'm going to pay this person to do this job because they do it well, and they may even do it better than I do. Even if they don't do it as good as I do, they might do it a tad bit, less as far as the productivity and efficiency. One, that's something that they can learn how to improve. You can guide them to improve that. And again, you're not the one who's putting in the effort anymore. They are. And if they're good at their job or somewhat decent at their job, the productivity could either stay the same, but it more than likely will increase. So that calculated risk was worth it. However, if you take a gamble on some bullshit, it's probably not going to get that same return. That's taking a calculated risk, and that's what they talk about in the book, Good to Great. So please read that book. And again, calculated risk. We're taking one right now. We're not telling you anything that we're not doing or don't plan on doing. We're either actually doing this shit or plan on doing this shit very soon.
We don't just practice what we preach what we practice.
There we fucking go.
I'm just going to say it every time.
There we go.
It's true.
So realize that you don't just have to do this by yourselves. We're doing it too. And we're not saying we're just the fucking experts on this shit. However, we're willing to show you our wins and show you our losses. Now, we're in the early phases of this, so we don't know how it's going to turn out. Actually, we do know how it's going to turn out because we're going to make it work. But, and we have a reason to know it's going to work because, one, we've seen people, we've known people who've done this before us. We've read books on how to do this from people that I wouldn't say millions, but a lot of people who've done this. And, we're workers. So it's going to happen. But again, that's the difference from taking a calculated risk and a blind gamble.
And I had something, and I was trying to get it back when I leaned back, and then it was gone. But it's along those. Oh, this is what I was going to say. It's sort of a tangent, but it has to do with two things actually. The idea of delegating tasks sometimes is very mentally draining because you say, oh, they might not do it to my level. But here's the thing, and Austin can attest to this, because we are essentially masters of none but jacks of all trades. And that's not to be egotistical or arrogant, that's just to be realistic. There's not one particular facet where we could say, yes, we absolutely excel in this. I would argue that's actually being humble, because if I said that we were absolutely excelling in one thing, that's kind of tooting our own horn if it's not true. So, but when I say that, the reason I say that is because, like, yes, we can do most things that we do exceptionally well. But if you can hire, and this is an example for us too, if we can hire one person who can handle one thing and do it better than us at a professional level, faster, more efficiently, or maybe they just come up with a new technique, a new way, and then they optimize it, then ego aside, you should understand that that's a good investment.
And you know what takes something from a gamble to a calculated risk, especially in the business sense. People have to say, this is going to either save you time or save you money or shit, even make you money. So when it comes to this shit, especially employing somebody, you know, it should do all three. Well, eventually, in the grand scheme of things, it should do all three if it's done right.
The ideal scenario is, you can't always predict how people are going to be.
Exactly.
People are people.
But as long as, I'm not going to say these are only credentials so you know it's a calculated risk. However, most times if the shit is saving you time or it's saving you money or you have an exit strategy that gets you out of this shit safe, and again, it's metric based. It's not just something that you pulled out of your ass. You have actual reason to do what you do and make that calculated risk or take that chance. I would say it's a calculated risk. It's a gamble. If it's just fly by night, you're just doing it without any fucking logic to it. And, you know, the foundation or whatever you're putting your money into or your time into is not stable. That's a gamble. So you have to realize the difference between the two. You have to see the difference between the two because it's probably not going to just pop out to you and say, hey, I'm a calculated risk, or hey, I'm a fucking gamble. You have to be able to discern this yourself. So being able to discern the difference between the two will get you far in life, because that can, there you go, and that shit can take you from a trajectory going upward or downward like that. So, hey.
But real quick, I actually kind of want to touch on this before we close out, and that's that, because we didn't talk about this. Most people are actually risk adverse.
They are.
And hey, look, I don't blame you. And I'll be honest, like the way I was raised, there's no possibility to be risk adverse because everybody in my family is batshit fucking crazy. Yeah, take a risk just being in my house, but don't be afraid of taking a risk. I would actually say if you're afraid of something, that's exactly why you need to do it. And I do this all the time when we're in the gym. Austin's like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do this. And I go, well, that's even more the reason why we need to do this bullshit. Because I am an asshole. But I think it's true. I think to a degree, it depends on what you believe in. But I believe in God. I would say that when I have a sense of fear or something of that sort, I know that to me, I interpret that as a message. And it's telling me, hey, this is exactly what you need to do. That discomfort is an indicator that you are heading in the right direction. Alex Hormozy said it best. He said that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Because that means that you have nothing to learn, nothing to grow from. If you always feel like you're gonna shit yourself, like you're so fucking nervous, you're sweating your ass off, I'm not gonna say that one, but a lot of other things are going on that give you a full, like, fight or flight response, you're most likely in the right room. That's a calculated risk because you understand, like, listen, I am very uncomfortable right now, but I am going to come out better from this if I capitalize on the opportunity. So do not be risk adverse. I understand risks are painful and it takes time to get acclimated to it, but trust me when I say it's the best thing you can possibly do, because nowadays, like, I don't even flinch when I take a risk. It doesn't matter how big or how little it is. And I'll tell you, most of the risks I've taken in the past half year, getting personal, is financial. And if you got to see the way that I just respond, or the way I do something, or the way I do this, the way the money goes here, the way I'm like, yeah, this is fine. whatever, and then you get to see my bank account balance go up and down and up and down and up and down, and you check my heart rate. Even right now, you'd see my heart rate doesn't fluctuate. It's like I'm already accustomed to the quote unquote pain to the point that now anything else that comes my way, any calculated risk or per se even a quote unquote gamble doesn't hurt. It's like it's just pain. Pain is pain. I'm numb to pain. So take the risk. Don't think at one point in time it was easy for me. It's still not easy, but it's easier. It's more regular. So I mean, how do you think we get arms like this? Austin, show him, Austin. How do you think we get shoulders like that? You think we're out here playing fucking games? No. We're playing for keeps. It's a bloody war. No holds barred. You already know. Austin, anything you want to say?
I had something I was gonna say, and I fucking forgot it, bro. Fuck. Oh, I got it. So basically, all that shit that Jose just said is basically telling you, don't be a fucking pussy. Don't be a pussy ass bitch. At one point in life, it's gonna be a time for you to nut up or shut up. And if you nut up, you'll be able to nut up for the rest of your life. However, if you shut up, you're gonna be up. I'm not gonna say you're gonna be that for the rest of your life. However, it's going to be harder for you to nut up next time. You have to take that stance and say, hey, look, I'm not going to be how you doing?
For a 73-year-old guy,
Of course.
Hey, take care now.
5 days a week running.
Oh, nice.
5 days a week. Well,
You got me beat.
I'm not as buff as you are, but 5 days a week, 1 hour every day.
But mentally, I'm trying to get to your level.
Yes, we're trying to get to your level.
Hold on a second. You don't take life too seriously, but you just take it serious enough.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Take care now.
Have a good one. Hey, you see
The
that?
next podcast stop is right there.
It should be. You see that? People don't know us, but because they fucking see us and they see what we're about and they see we're exuding confidence, positivity. I won't say positivity all the time.
Spoke to somebody. How many people do you know just talk to a random fucking stranger? How many people do you know smile?
And
I can count how many people I've seen smile today on 2 hands, and it barely touches the second hand.
and mid podcast, some people would have been like, "Oh, we're recording a podcast." Blah, blah, blah. Man, fuck it. There's an interaction. You never know how that guy could have fucking.
He
That
could be
could have.
driving a Rolls.
Yeah, and not only that, he could have, who knows, been going through a tough day. And he saw us out here having a good time podcasting, and then we talked to him. Now he's happier about life, and now he lives another fucking 10 years. Who fucking knows? So, hey man. On that note, I think we're just gonna end it for today because you just see it. And he even said he's not as big as that. Hey man, come on now. Come on now.
That's like when your grandma says you're looking big.
Yeah.
Grandma just told us you're looking big.
Yeah.
Grandma says you're looking big, you know you're looking
You know
big.
you looking. You know what I'm saying? Come on now.
Back in the day, they knew. They ate the cow. Tongue, eyeballs, fucking
Testicles,
hair, everything. Fuck yeah.
hooves.
Oysters.
You know. Come on
Chewing
now.
on hooves.
Come on now. Intestines. A whole 9.
Let me give one real quick quote. This is a good one from Bedros. The average man inspires nobody. So if you do not take risks, then you will remain average. And average nowadays means what? You're like 30% body fat. You got gelatinous titties. You got no fucking muscles. Your testosterone is damn near 0. You're a bitch. You're a pussy. You're all the fucking above. And you're everything that is absolutely undesirable to anything that walks the earth. Not even a fucking predator wants to eat you. That's average.
He always goes too far down the rabbit hole. Yeah. Here we go. God damn.